Hey there, YouTube. We are back on the Corrado project, aka the death by 1,000 cuts, and the Corrado is not failing to surprise us with many more things that it apparently needs work on. So let's get into it and see what we can accomplish today.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
So last week we were working on the Corrado, and this week we are working on the Corrado. Hey again, YouTube. Brendan, aka Cliff Jumper here. We are continuing with the never-ending Supercharger install, and we ran out of daylight the other day, but we are making really good progress. And what we had discovered is part of the many missing parts. We needed to install this. We didn't have the studs that we needed to go into here. So after traveling to a few different machine supply shops, finally found the proper M8 by 1.25 studs that can go in here to mount the Supercharger. I had been using bolts before that, I mean, they kind of did the job, but it was really sketchy, and it was really hard to get them bolted in and torqued properly. So now with the studs, should be way easier, and I think we're well on our way to actually getting this thing possibly working. However, before I say too much, one thing that we discovered was the battery had gone completely flat. And the battery going flat seems to be a symptom of something electrical going wrong in the car that is causing a draw. Now, the last time I closed and locked the car up, I heard a vacuum pump running for a pretty long period of time. And I think there's a leak in the central locking system. You know, the car is close to 30 years old, and they do develop leaks. So I'm gonna have to track down that leak. I'm pretty sure it's the vacuum pump that was just running and just ran the battery down. And, you know, kind of shame on me for not catching that and disconnecting the battery. But we'll figure that out and get this thing up and running. Radwood is Saturday. That is 2 days from now. So I feel like I'm in one of those reality shows where I'm racing against the clock, trying to get it all put together in time to take to the big event. And that is exactly what is taking place. So the goal is to get it running today and on the ground and driving around. And we'll do a proper shakedown cruise tomorrow before we drive it the 2 hours up and 2 hours back to Radwood. So, you know, knock on carbon fiber, and let's see what we're able to get done. Now again, on these studs, we don't want to tighten them down with Kung Fu Voodoo Monkey Death Grip, but we don't want them to back out. So we are putting some blue thread locker on here, because if we do need to remove them, we want to be able to, not red. Other than inserting helicoils into a block or a head, I can't think of a single reason you would use red thread locker. But blue gets the job done, and it doesn't require a whole lot, just a little bit, and you're good to go. So we're gonna stick that in here and, yeah, get this done. Welcome back, everyone. Day number 10 bazillion of the Corrado Supercharger project. I got a lot of work done last night, amazingly, even though I didn't film it and it was dark and it just would not have come out well. But let me show you what I've gotten done. We have the Supercharger mounted, the belts are tensioned. This all is plumbed where it needs to be. I did have to do some finagling with a couple of different pieces to make it work. I'm probably gonna replace this piece with one piece later on, now that I know the measurements and what sort of bend it needs. So that'll probably get replaced. So it reduces the amount of points of potential failure. Down here is where I'm working right now. I need to connect the air filter and the mass airflow sensor. That's all that we have left to finish in order to get her running. And of course there's a battery drain, so we're gonna diagnose that very quickly as soon as we've got this last bit of piping run and the mass airflow sensor connected. So we'll connect the battery, we'll do some quick circuit tracing to see where the battery leak, whatever, voltage leak is. And we should be up and running. So today is Friday. SoCal Radwood is tomorrow, and we want to be able to get this on the road and do some shakedown tests and make sure that it's going to be okay to drive up there, because it hasn't been on the road in 8 months. So let's see how it goes.
2 hours later.
Supercharger installation is complete. Woo! All right, so we actually have everything plumbed. The intake is where it needs to be. Air filter is going to collect from this duct right here. Mass airflow sensor is inside the fender well here. We extended the harness, so it's all the way down in there. Connected up through the fender well to the supercharger. We've got the oil catch can in place. Oh, I see one hose that we are going to need to deal with. That's got an ugly little bend, and that is the idle stabilizer valve, so we definitely want that to operate properly. So I'm going to do a quick little adjustment on that. then we should be good to go.
5 minutes later.
I traced the battery draw to something fairly simple. I have kind of an old school thing. It's a powered bazooka subwoofer in the trunk, and it is supposed to automatically turn off and on with the radio, like automatic sensing thing, but it's actually not turning off. So it's just staying on and drawing power. So I'll just have to, for the time being, get in the habit of unplugging it or put in some sort of power switch so I can shut it off, but I'll probably end up replacing that. In the meantime, the moment of truth. Let's turn her on and see if she works after all this. It has been a while since we've run it. I mean, it's been 8 months, so maybe you need to prime the fuel pump a little bit, and we'll try it again. There we go. There is life. There is life. All right, let's check this out and just make sure visually that stuff is working the way it should. So we've got belts spinning. Things are plugged in. Stuff is happening. All right, that's really good. Okay, so my next step here is to get her off of the jack stands, back on the ground, do a full warm-up, check for leaks, and then do a road test. We'll do a short road test first, and then bring her back and again check for leaks, and then do a longer road test. So a few different steps in the process here, but yeah, so far so good.
Twenty minutes later.
All right, here is, well, I would say it's a moment of truth, but it's kind of the second moment of truth. This car has not driven in a long time, so we're actually going to take a quick spin around the property, and if that goes well, then we'll go onto the street and do a quick checkout drive, and then we'll come back, check for leaks, and go from there. So maybe a longer drive later, but let's see how this goes. I think I may have, yeah. That would be a rat trap I just ran over. Hold on a second. We live in the country, so there are vermin, and we have to deal with them. And the car is so low that it just sort of dragged the trap with me instead of, yeah, whatever. Anyway, I'm just gonna put it in first gear. because we had done some transmission work in addition to the supercharger stuff. We're checking for function. All right, so we've got first gear. Okay, so far so good. We're fully warmed up. I've got 198 degree oil temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and put the AC on just because I want to see how this drives with all the normal accessories operating, and we spent so long getting the AC working, it'd be a shame to not have that. So let's go ahead and lay into some throttle. All right, all right. I'm not hearing any weird noises, which is good. So far, so good. No weird belt noises. Everything appears to be good. We're gonna go ahead and not join the traffic. And all right, some boost. Boost is happening. Cool. Let's go back and check for leaks and issues, just in case.
5 minutes later.
What we're looking for here is just double checking that everything has stayed in place where it needs to be. So we've got the boost hoses are still in place, that's good. Looking to make sure that nothing has popped off randomly, because now there's pressure involved. And there's stuff that should be on the non-pressurized side, and there's stuff that is on the pressurized side that we want to just check. That's good, that's good. I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay. So, this has been a heck of a project to get the supercharger installed, but we finally have that in place. Woot! So tomorrow, I'm gonna do a little bit more shakedown cruise tonight. I might film that, but tomorrow the plan is for my daughter and I to drive up to Radwood, SoCal, couple-hour drive, and it should be low drama. It should just be cruising, not going crazy with the boost the whole way, but we've got boost. Boost on the VR6 is good. Like that. So anyway, I'll check back and let you know how it's going, but
and on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.